IMSA family. We're here in IMSA's Tech Center here. Got some important things happening in 2025, additions to the GT cars that are really going to help all the technical regulators here to balance things even better than before. IMSA family, we have our friend Matt Kurdock, lovingly referred to as technical director. His brain is full of ones and zeros and wires and amazing stuff. This pretty cool development this year, Matt. We know that 2023, 2024, with the IMSA GTP cars coming in, IMSA said we're going to put torque sensors on the axles, measure power, measure output, measure a lot of things that help you and your team to figure out balance of performance. Just, it's a good insight into the cars to understand how they perform and try and create some sort of parity there. Some other things they can do too. For 2025, you've said, well, we got a bunch of GT3 based cars, GTD Pro, GTD, they all have torque sensors now. Why? What was the reason for that addition?
Well, historically, IMSA's regulated car performance through either air restrictors on naturally aspirated engines or boost pressure limits on turbocharged cars. There's also some other engine parameters were restricted through the technical regulations of the GT3 cars that we ran in GTD and GTD Pro. We've, through our learnings with GTP, which is all based around a torque sensor regulation and control of power output through torque sensors, we found that we could better directly correlate on-track performance to where we intended to with power regulation.
This is giving you just more incredibly useful data to create more accurate changes to get these cars more equalized in terms of performance, because we got front engine, mid engine, we got all kinds of different cars that wouldn't naturally compete on a level playing ground if unrestricted. This further helps you create parity for manufacturers.
This further helps us create parity not only across manufacturers but within a manufacturer and over a 24-hour race as well. So when we start the Rolex 24, we'll have a certain barometric temperature and humidity. As we progress through the race, that's going to change dramatically, especially overnight. And we'll have turbocharged cars that respond differently to that than naturally aspirated cars, and even cars within a brand that may have an intercooler that's got more debris in it than another car, or an air filter that's got a little more restriction than another car. So with the torque sensors, this allows us to basically set a performance level for the duration of the event that's established when we take ambient conditions on the first day.
Let's jump in real quick and talk to our friend Bozy Tatarovich from the Vassar-Sullivan team, master mechanic. He's going to show us what these torque sensors look like, where they go on the car.
My name is Bozy Tatarovich, and I'm a race mechanic on the number 14 Sealmaster Vassar-Sullivan Lexus RCF GT3, and today we're going to talk about torque sensors. So torque sensors are a new device being introduced to GTD and GTD Pro this year that have been around for the GTP class. And basically what we're looking for is this little silver cylinder back here that is mounted on the drive shaft. And what this cylinder does is it spins around the drive shaft and detects torque as our drivers are putting the throttle down on the racetrack. Theoretically, this should equalize the field a bit more and bring them closer together. And if the GTP class is anything for what we've seen, I think it'll be a great benefit for GTD Pro and GTD.
And all that data is coming across, live streaming through telemetry. So again, you've got all the data real time, you're seeing it, capturing it, use that as needed post-event, etc. At whatever point in time you decide a change is needed.
So more importantly, not only is it a tool for us to measure the performance and to be able to use that in our ongoing balance of performance process, but it allows us to regulate the cars consistently on that performance level. So IMSA for each car prescribes a maximum power curve that's basically a function of engine speed, and in the balance of performance tables that's defined for each car model. And then we have a data logger that's running in each one of these race cars, and we're directly hooked up to both the left and right torque sensors. And we're running basically some equations in our data logger that allow us to look at the power output and essentially regulate it in real time.
Wow.
So it's not just monitoring it and then following up post-race with an adjustment. It allows us to actually control the competition, make sure that intended power levels are being respected, and if someone crosses over a power level boundary, it allows us to perform an in-race. There would be an in-race violation and potentially a drive-through penalty.
Okay, so we're going to try not to make people's eyes roll in the back of the head here, because whenever we talk tech and rules, but I did want to close on this. So the torque sensors on the GT cars, now we have all the classes with different models using that information for IMSA. There's also been an approach to the balance of performance through kind of a two-stage approach, or more of a mindset of these cars get all the way down to 10 or 15 miles an hour at the hairpin at Long Beach, and they get up to over 200 miles an hour possibly at some places. It's hard to say here's one set of parameters that's going to be perfect for all ranges and speeds. Tell us about that evolution as well. It's just even more attempt to make sure everyone's as balanced as possible wherever they are on the racetrack.
Yeah, so this year we've implemented in both GTP and in our two GT categories the what's called two-stage power. And so we have we'll have a low-speed power limit and we'll have a high-speed power limit, and everyone is using the same crossover speed on that. And it's an additional tool for us because it allows us to control the acceleration of the vehicles. They all have their engines in a different place. They all are going to produce grip in different ways, and
different sizes,
different aerodynamics. And so, our goal is to equalize lap time, but also how that lap time is achieved. And the torque sensors have given us this additional tool to do that, where we can control exiting a corner all the way to the end of a straightaway. We can control those two steps in power.
Matt Kurdock, one of the nicest guys in the IMSA paddock, one of the smartest guys. Also, often, as a function of your job, one of the most hated guys. There's always one or two manufacturers just staring daggers at you, but indeed, trying to do some good work here. Appreciate you, and thanks for this deep dive here on all the new technical things on the cars here of importance in 2025. Thank you.
Watch us this season on NBC and Peacock. Be sure to subscribe to IMSA on YouTube and enjoy our brand new IMSA Endurance Hour podcast there. And if you're interested in digital activation in motorsports, visit IMSA.com/partnership.